Should you use extra cash to pay down your mortgage balance? Well, the right answer should be based upon a couple factors that are unique to your specific situation. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you the questions to ask so that you can understand what the right answer is for you. Hey everybody, I'm James Knoll, founder of Root Financial Partners, and I'm here to teach you what you need to know to create a secure retirement. Now, the decision to pay off a mortgage, there's a couple different factors you want to consider. There's the math side of it, there's the emotional side of it, there's the tax impact side of it. And what we want to make sure we're doing is clarifying those questions so that you have a very simple analysis of what is the decision point as to what makes most sense for you. Number one, the first thing that you want to do is simply do the math. Now, this isn't the whole picture. Some people make this the whole picture. It's certainly part of the picture though. So do the math. What do I mean by that? Well, let's assume you have a 3% interest rate on your mortgage. Well, the math really says if you have extra dollars and your decision is to either invest those dollars or pay down the mortgage, it doesn't work out perfectly this way, but the decision is this, is can you invest and get greater than a 3% return on your dollars? If the answer is yes, then financially speaking, the spreadsheet answer is it probably makes more sense to invest. If you don't think that you can get 3% or more on your investments, well, why would we invest in something that's paying less than 3% when by paying down our mortgage, it's almost like getting a guaranteed 3% return? Not exactly like it, but very similar to it. Now, as interest rates are going up, say your mortgage balance is 5%. Now the hurdle that you would need to clear is 5%. So as you're looking at that, is it doable? Yeah, probably doable depending upon your risk tolerance and your investment goals and your time horizon, but there's a higher hurdle to clear. So the higher your interest rate, in many cases, the more sense it makes to pay down your mortgage, and the lower your interest rate, maybe the more sense it makes sense to invest, but it depends on you. It depends upon your unique situation, your comfort level, your portfolio, and when you might need some of those funds. But that's certainly where you want to start, is doing the simple math of understanding what hurdle do you need to clear for you to invest it, at what point does it make sense to do so. Number two, the second thing you need to do is to understand the true cost of borrowing. So it's not actually a perfect example to say if you have a 3% interest rate on your mortgage, then 3% is the hurdle you need to cross. Or if you have a 5% interest rate on your mortgage, then 5% is the hurdle you need to cross for investing to make more sense. You need to understand the true cost of borrowing. And what I mean is this, is when you're looking at your tax bracket, the higher your tax bracket, the more income you make, the more a mortgage actually benefits you. I shouldn't say it benefits you, but it costs you less. Here's an example. Let's assume that you have a $500,000 mortgage, and let's assume your interest rate is 3%, just for simple math. Well, 3% of $500,000, you're more or less going to be paying about $15,000 that year of interest. Well, if you are itemizing your deductions, you are adding that interest, that $15,000, and that becomes deductible. You're adding that to taxes you're paying, to charitable giving, to some other expenses. You're adding that and itemizing it, and you're actually getting deducted out in your tax return. So if you're in the top federal tax bracket, which is currently 37%, that comes out to about $5,550 of savings. So yes, you paid $15,000 in interest. You don't get it all back, but you end up getting back, or at least a credit of about $5,550 when you take into account the impact that has on how many dollars less you pay in taxes. So when you look at it that way, the actual cost of that mortgage, the cost of that mortgage being the interest rate you're paying for it, is about $9,450. So when you look at $9,450 compared to a mortgage balance of $500,000, now all of a sudden the interest rate's about 1.9%. Rounding a little bit. But what you can start to see is that actually changes the true cost of borrowing, which changes the hurdle that you need to get over in order for investing to make more sense. So again, the math side, the spreadsheet side, the number side, that's not the only consideration, and we're going to be looking at others in just a second, but that's a good starting point for understanding what makes most sense on paper between investing your dollars and paying off your mortgage earlier. The next question you have to ask yourself is kind of a practical question. It's maybe you are paying extra on your mortgage and you're wondering, well, should I redirect this to investments instead? Well, assume you stop paying extra on your mortgage. Ask yourself, what would you actually do with that excess? I've seen some people who are paying extra and then someone convinced them, hey, it's not a good idea to pay extra. You should be investing that money instead. I said, okay, wonderful. They change back to paying the minimum payment on their mortgage, and that excess just gets absorbed into their monthly living expenses. So yes, on paper and in their head, they say, I know it makes more sense to invest, but they didn't actually take the time to set up that automatic investment. So practically speaking, understanding yourself behaviorally, if you are paying extra and you dialed that down just to the minimum mortgage payment, would you actually turn around and invest that? Or would it just be absorbed into your monthly cash flow? So understanding yourself and sometimes just automating extra mortgage payoff, it is forced in a way savings that you wouldn't necessarily be doing without that. The fourth aspect is also kind of a behavioral thing, and it's how do you feel about it? How do you feel about having a paid off mortgage versus having more money in your investment account? This is one of those areas where the quote unquote textbook answer of what should you do, which is all about what leads to the greatest rate of return, the textbook answer doesn't take this into account, is how would you feel about not having a mortgage? People throw parties sometimes. People celebrate when their mortgage is paid off. No one really celebrates if there's an extra 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 on top of their portfolio. That's nice to have, but there's not that same emotional connection to having a paid for home. So understand this about yourself. Understand with the extra dollars that you have, as you're asking yourself the question, do I invest this or do I pay off the mortgage? If you need to invest to be on track with your financial plan and be on track with retirement, well, maybe you want to commit the dollars there because it's needed. But if it's not needed, maybe you're already on track and already doing the right things with your 401k and other investments and retirement strategy. What's going to make you feel better? The goal of money is to lead to a higher quality of life, to lead to more freedom, both financial freedom and emotional freedom. If using those dollars to pay down a mortgage helps to create more emotional freedom, helps you to feel a higher quality of life, let's not discount that. That's a very real thing that can't be distilled down to a spreadsheet or can't be distilled down to an equation, but it absolutely matters. So know yourself. And yes, understand the math of it. Understand what makes more sense on paper. But then also understand what's going to make you feel better. Make sure you're making decisions that are in alignment with what's going to lead to a higher quality of life. So as you can see, there's many different factors. It's not just the financial factors. There's also behavioral factors of what are you more inclined to do. There's also emotional factors, which is what's going to make you feel better. Understand each of these factors, understand what's best for you, and in doing so, you can make the decision that's right for you. A lot of times, this decision ultimately comes down to should I save more for retirement or should I pay off my mortgage early? Well, in more cases than not, many people might already be on track for their retirement savings and they could stop if they wanted to. If you want to see when you can stop saving for retirement, be sure to check out the video above to find out. Thanks for watching. This is James Knoll with Root Financial Partners. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to share it with someone else who you think would benefit from this information. And also, please be sure to like and subscribe for more content just like this. Finally, if you'd like to see how we help clients create a secure retirement, be sure to check out our website at rootfinancialpartners.com.